thought there was one more. Oh, come on. Yeah.
Which piece of technology is like your most favorite, and which one do you use the most?
The one I use the most is a text-to-speech program. It came out, believe it or not, in 1995. Now, they do have more up-to-date programs available now, but I still like one called Monologue. It's loading the program now. The reason why it takes so long to load this program is because I'm loading it on the 64-bit version of Windows 7, and this program needs a 32-bit environment, so I'm launching a virtual instance of Windows XP, and inside of that virtual XP machine, I'm running a Monologue. So that's why it takes so long, because I'm launching a whole other operating system within an operating system here. You say, well, that takes a long time. I love the program so much, that's why I do it. Katie?
Yes.
Would you please sit down just for a second there? I typed in the word Monologue. That's how I launched the program. Again, if I don't have to use the mouse, I don't need to. Now, after the program is launched, which it has now, you can get out of Firefox.
Okay.
All right, you get out of that.
Yes.
Get out of that. Get out. Okay. You can minimize that window because that's fine. And would you please open up the? I think there's more.
There's a My Computer app. There's an administrator.
Toward the bottom.
Reset network. More enabling technology.
More enabling technology. Open that and open up the MOREENABTECH Word document. I'm going to show you how this works. Should be there.
The Braille note, ComCon.
Do you see any Word documents in there?
No, it looks like all video.
Okay, here. Let's just launch Notepad.
Okay.
Would you just launch NOTEPAD? There we go. And just type in something. Okay. Now, highlight the text.
Okay.
With your mouse. Copy it to the clipboard.
Okay.
And then click on the little Monologue location at the bottom right.
Welcome to the lab.
There you go.
Thank you for coming.
I'm so used to this guy's artificial voice now, but I almost can say we're brothers. We speak the same language. Now, I know by today's standards that's a relatively primitive speech synthesis, but I have used that since 1995, and I absolutely love it because I know the way it pronounces things. So this is called a text-to-speech program. What you do is, if you ever have text in a web page or in a Word document, whatever you want to read, highlight the text with your mouse, copy it to the clipboard, and then click on that little icon and it'll read the text. That's what I need. What I don't need is what they call a screen reader. What a screen reader is for essentially people who can't see the screen or don't want to look at it at all. They can actually navigate totally with the keyboard and by listening. They can navigate over the various icons on the desktop. They don't have to see the screen. It tells them everything that they need to know that appears on the screen. That's the kind of speech software my wife uses, a screen reader. I don't need that level of sophistication. All I need, because I can see enough to use the icons, is something to read large blocks of text. So I use what they call a text-to-speech program. By the way, in that first handout that lists the software that I gave you, there is a program in the software section called Read Please. It is very similar to my Monologue program, and it is free. There's both a free version and a paid version. It came out around 2003, and frankly, they did such a good job on the free version. Most people don't even need the paid one. So if you would like to experiment with something that works we give these things names. I call my screen reader Jacques. Okay? And on my Kindle, which also speaks, I call him Philippe. Now, frankly, Robert, excuse me, this is Robert. I don't know why I do that, but they have all different personalities. Now, this is not a Kindle for blind people, by the way. This is a garden variety keyboard Kindle. What a lot of people don't know about this is it has, again, it has to be the right model. It has a built-in speech synthesizer. Again, it is synthesis by rule. In other words, it has all the phonemes memorized, so although it doesn't speak perfectly, it can speak anything in the English language. So what I do is I go on Amazon and I buy my books. And you know, in the book description, one of the things that they list, you know, besides the number of pages and how, you know, the author's name, is they have a little item that says text to speech. And it says either enabled or not enabled. If text to speech is enabled in the book description, I can download it on my Kindle and my Kindle keyboard can read it to me. Now, I like to use the analogy of a kid looking in a candy store. Before the advent of the Kindle, yes, there was lots of books available, but not enough for me. Not the kind of stuff I like to read, the uber geek stuff, right? I felt like, you know, they have all the romances and all the sci-fi and all the westerns, but they don't have things on fiber optics, doggone it, or chaos theory, or quantum mechanics, or relativity. The stuff I like to read about. So I'm looking at all the sighted people, I'm getting jealous, you know, they can have this stuff, I can't. So now, as long as it's available as a Kindle book, and as long as it has text-to-speech enabled, I can use my little Kindle keyboard to read it. I absolutely love this thing. This is my fourth one, by the way. The first one I sat on. The second and third ones I dropped. I'm rather clumsy. So this is number 4. Now what does that tell you? That means I love this thing so much that I'm willing to replace it whenever it breaks. I have no buyer remorse at all. I love this thing. I don't like to go anywhere without it anymore. Any other questions?
I have a question, Dr. Franson.
Yes, sir.
By the time these guys are in the classroom as teachers, they're going to see more and more touch-only devices.
Yeah.
What are you seeing in the industry as far as how folks can benefit from those?
Not so much in the industry, although they do have what they call haptic screens. They have some touch devices now that they can apply an electrical signal to various parts of the screen and give the different parts a different texture or a different feel. Maybe some parts vibrate, others don't. Maybe some have a rougher texture than others. This is still in the forefront, so they really haven't done too much with this yet. So that's one way I think that we could come to terms with stuff made primarily for sighted people. I'm going to be honest with you. This is not a touch device. I do have a Kindle Fire. I use it to mess around with apps and watch movies, but frankly, I would not use it as a productivity tool because I'm not a big fan of touch devices. I like more the physical keyboard. My wife is the same way. I got her a Galaxy Tab, and I got her an iPad. Yes, Dr. Fensler, an iPad. And to be perfectly honest with you, she really hasn't taken to them that much. See, she can do more with her netbook. She's more comfortable with it. Now, in all fairness, there are many blind people who love the touch devices because they can turn on the audio feedback and they can have the machine tell them exactly where their finger is on the screen. One of my wife's very good friends absolutely loves to use her iPod Touch as a computing device. So it isn't like all blind people like it, all blind people don't. We're as different as anybody else. We have preferences. We like certain things. One of the things that my wife's good friend, remember the one I told you about who showed her ham radio? They needed to replace their washer, I believe it was. And unfortunately, the washer came with a touch screen. Now, frankly, my opinion is they should have looked for one with a traditional knob. But what you can do, if you do have a touch screen, is you can add little markers on the screen, if I can find this. Here they are. These are little dots, little rubber dots that you can peel off individually and stick them anywhere you want. So if, for example, the blind person has to use a touch screen, let's say on an appliance, and they have to, in order to use the thing, they have to hit, like the start button or the stop or fast or slow or whatever, you can put one of these little nubbins around that location, so they do have a tactile aid that'll tell them approximately where to touch. Frankly, I don't like touch devices that much, but I think I'm probably going to be in the minority on that. I like the knobs and the buttons. What we do on our stove, for example, and our microwave and our thermostat, is my wife puts just a little, very thin sliver of tape by the settings, like the temperatures, when she's, that little slip is for pie and that one's for steak or cake or whatever. And then she can set it that way just by touch if a couple of places are marked off. So then she knows I'm very sensitive about temperature in the home, and I like to have it just in this really narrow range, and it drives her crazy. So if I get out of bed, crank it up, and then she can get back out of bed and turn it down again. She knows where to adjust it because she has the little slips of tape, although I could, I'm sure, move those if I wanted to. We also bought a talking thermostat, by the way, and I'm just waiting to get a new furnace so we can use it. Everything doesn't have to be high tech either. Here's a real big, bold black and white timer. It's nothing more than essentially a little alarm clock. And as you can see, they have every 5-minute increment marked off with these little raised rubber dots. So you can always interpolate between, let's say, the 0 minutes and 5 minutes. You can put it around the middle. That's around 2.5, and you can do that totally by touch. Those of you that have been in photography a long time, this might remind you of the faceplate of a enlarger timer for photographers. And since this is magnetic, she can just slap this on the refrigerator and it'll stay put, and she can have easy access to it. So Lisa was saying before, we don't all use digital, and that's for sure. When we talk about technology, sometimes some of the old school solutions are the best. Here's an example. Have you ever looked through a lens, like let's say on somebody's eyeglasses at a bright light, and you'd notice those colored circles around the bright light? Chromatic aberration, they call that. Different colors of light are focused at different points in space inside the eye, which means that you don't get a distinct view of things. It isn't as sharp as it could be because you're looking at all these different colors that are focusing at different points. So one of the ways that I can improve the sharpness of vision is by giving me these yellow-green glasses that only let one color through. So it makes the world, yes, I know, look only one color, but it's very sharp because all those rays of light are focused at the same point inside of the eye. So if I ever need to sharpen up my eyesight, this is one way to do it. The human eye is very sensitive, I think, to the kind of the greenish yellow area of the spectrum. So that's why the glasses are the color that they are. Old school again. Hey, the way I look at it, I'm very pragmatic. If it works, I use it. If I can find something that's been designed for sighted people and retrofit it into something that could help me, I'm all over it. Let me show you what I mean here, and I know we're getting a little low on time. This is called the Geordie. Yes, I know. Just like the guy in Star Trek. Remember how I said if I can find something that has been made for sighted people and figure out how to use it? Well, you've all seen a digital camera. Come on, Franson. There you go. You've all seen a digital camera with a zoom lens, right? You all know what a TV is, right? Why not combine a camera with a zoom lens with a little TV that you can wear? Like this, it goes over the head, and you turn it on, and this is essentially like looking through a camera and zooming in on something. And now, the important thing to remember when you're using this is I can see things at a very great distance, but I can't see things right under my feet. So if you use a device like this, you don't want to be walking around with it. You see, some people think, oh, well, the blind people, if they had this, they wouldn't need the cane and the dog anymore. No! You use them all, guys. It's just like the reading. Some people say, well, you know, we have the computers now. We have the speech synthesis. We don't need Braille anymore. Yes, we do. The more ways we have to do something, like accessing the printed word, the better. My wife knows how to read in more different ways than any person I've ever met, because she can read books for sighted people. She can read audiobooks. She can read Braille. The more choices we have, the better. So when I see technology that can be adapted for visually impaired people, I'm all over it. Because a lot of times it can be cheaper if they use off-the-shelf parts than something that has been designed from the ground up just for blind people. Any other questions? Come on. There's got to be something you want to ask. I rarely decline answering something. Oh, come on.
Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look? Oh, that's it. Okay. Some people say that when they talk to a blind person, they shouldn't use the word see or look. Or when they talk to a deaf person, they shouldn't use the word hear. No. You talk to them like you talk to any other human being. Don't be self-conscious. If you learn one thing, remember that we're just like you guys. We can't see as well. Everybody has something, right? Something wrong with them. Some kind of an impairment of some kind. If you don't now, you will. We're all in some group or another, right? But we're all mostly the same as well. You know, we have more things in common than our differences. So look at the person first and the disability second, not the other way around.
This is more of a question for Katie, but I know they ran out of handouts. Did you have more?
Yes, we have several more handouts of whichever one you needed.
Okay.
By the way, those handouts will also be up on my website. Would you like the address? Anybody?
Yes.
Okay. Here it is. www.ilstu.edu/ goes uphill from left to right, followed by the little squiggly tilde character, / and then tilde. And then my ULID is B-A, F like in Frank, R-A-N-S. Here it is again. www.ilstu.edu/ followed by the tilde character, B-A-F like in Frank, R-A-N-S, B-A Franz. Don't forget the tilde, the address won't work. You will see those handouts up there in the next day or two, okay?
With that, thank you very, very much
Thank you, guys.
for coming.